Hi, this is Matt with the Intergalactic Herald. Welcome to my Star Atlas Week in Review podcast. This is podcast number 155. Any articles or videos mentioned can be found on my website at intergalacticherald.com. Just look for Weekly Recap Newsletter 203. So just before I get started with summary of things to go over, past week there were a number of posts in the Foundation Room from Michael Wagner that I want to kind of bring out. Then there was the Atlas Brew and an econ forum from the community. Can't really say the community team anymore, but from from Star Atlas. Anyways, so basically go over that and then talk a little bit about State of Star Atlas and my journey. But before I get to that, I just want to mention a few things I'm doing within the Star Atlas Universe, ecosystem, cybernation, whatever we're calling it. So I do want to point out my website, intergalacticherald.com. It's a great resource for Star Atlas guides, directories, recaps. I do have a Discord announcement newsfeed you can check out. Also, I do have a Star Atlas merch store at intergalacticgear.com. Not a lot of selection, but I do have some mugs, and I do ship in the United States, so please check that out, intergalacticgear.com. And also, I'd love to get together with other Star Atlas gamers, so I have a community I'd like to get started. It's at intergalacticcoalition.com. There's an interest survey there. If we get enough people interested, I'll definitely start building that community. So anyways, as I mentioned, things that went on this past week. I'll do them in reverse order. There was some Foundation Room information, partly I think kind of out of the layoffs and changes that occurred, but I'll go ahead and talk about the two community events first and then kind of do a State of Star Atlas segue into what was in the Foundation Room. So this past week was the Atlas Brew, as is usually occurred. Seems to be more led now by Jim, I think. Web director. Yes, I think it's Jim. Sorry, I got to get used to new names and things like that. But anyways, this Atlas Brew was actually much more of a presentation from the Super Phoenix DAO, which if you've been around Star Atlas for a while, Super Phoenix is one of the Titan ships that was purchased by a DAO. And then they have been doing different things. They have now moved into sporting events or kind of esports type of things. So they gave some information about what's going on with their league and what they want to kind of do and things like that. So this wasn't really a brew kind of about the product development, but more about events within the community. So there was a little bit of discussion at the end about prediction markets and skill-based wagering. Kind of understand skill-based wagering. I don't have a clue about prediction markets. So anyways, again, it was a great listen. If you want to listen to more, please check out Star Atlas TV YouTube channel and you get the full thing recording. Or again, I do have my Star Atlas recap AI summaries you can check out. That'll be on this podcast feed, so you probably already heard it. So that was on Wednesday. Then on Thursday, the Econ Forum occurred. Chris, the director of economics, I don't know, too many economists. That's the word I was trying to put. So he appears to be doing now solo shows, which is makes sense with with the community team departure. So he gave some updates. I forgot to write it down. I only wrote the acronym again. The OMO, Operation Market. I don't know. Anyways, the changes to the economy right now. So he did mention that unfortunately there hadn't been any ship sales since January 22nd, but apparently there was a bug in Marketplace that you could still get your affiliate commission. I think that was called StarPath. So they finally turned that off. And he mentioned some things are going to be coming out now. They're going to actually have some buy orders, which is what they had mentioned before, where they're going to start buying back the Mamba X ship. They also mentioned they'll be doing some redemption recipe updates, which of course is of interest to me since I'm trained to craft a Mamba X. So he also mentioned that the new council, I can't say it, Vantara, anyways, but the council and economic council has been created. So there were, I think, 6 community members, and they're going to actually have their own presentation. So that's kind of interesting. So we'll see how that goes. Did a Q&A at the end. I was starting to nod off, so I didn't really listen to that. But one stat he put at the very end, with the kind of drop in Bitcoin prices, they have seen a drop in the daily active users. So now it's about 850. So anyways, those were the 2 community events this past week in Star Atlas. As I mentioned, there were some things in the Star Atlas Discord Foundation Room, so I'll kind of go over those now. Excuse me. Just tired, I guess. Sorry for my voice. Anyways, Michael Wagner was responding to a few different people's questions. One, they did do the change from Sage going to the RPC connections. And Michael Wagner was kind of mentioning there are two reasons for doing this. One was to solve a big pain point in user experience by eliminating a system that was causing lots of bugs and generating lots of support tickets. And there was a reduction in infrastructure cost. He didn't say it was really huge, but it did cut our infrastructure costs considerably. Oh, yeah, I remember now. This was kind of in response to, is there other things the team could cancel to save money? But he mentioned, and this is something I've always thought, that the payroll is the largest expense group by far. There aren't really any opportunities to significantly reduce spending on services or infrastructure or ops because salaries are probably 90% of the spend. So it was the first time we've heard kind of where the things cost money. So he also mentioned in terms of cost to operate C4, he would say they're going to be comparable to Sage and even a modest scale when we get tens of thousands of players there. We don't pay validators to operate token emissions and transaction fees. Technically, users pay validators. Just like you guys pay SOL fees to validators on Solana, the fees you pay on Zinc in dollar terms will be lower because of FDZ or F. I don't know what that stands for. Anyways. Somebody's asking about why aren't doing more Twitter X spaces, and he said, Michael Wagner said he'd done hundreds of them, and they were a complete waste of time, zero impact. He does say he has other things cooking on the marketing side, might post details later, and he's using this new AI assistant to kind of create different things. On the topic of salaries, he mentioned that most of the team is significantly underpaid. If we look at the competitive landscape, the only reason we change talent is because they love the vision and what we're building. Somebody asked about what's the primary, or I don't know. Sorry, I don't know what the questions were. Again, I don't record the questions, just the answers. Michael Wagner did say the primary focus remains on Holocim, C4, PTR, and Zinc. If I had to imply progress toward delivery of each, I'd say something like 98%, so that would be Holocim, 90% on C4, and 60% on Zinc. And he said should start seeing releases within weeks. And then the final one, somebody was kind of asking for dates, which normally don't get answered, but this time they were talking about Zinc maybe pushed back a little bit, but he did say they did hit the alpha and origin timelines. Mainnet won't be ready in March, but progress is solid. Oh, I remember right. There was postings initially that they were going to be every 3 months. So it definitely sounds like the mainnet now will not be coming out in March, but given that's already February, not too crazy or surprising. So yeah, anyway, so just kind of segueing that into kind of state of Star Atlas this past week. The note I wrote to myself was, feels like we're kind of in a state of waiting for something new. So that's why these kind of foundation room posts, I think we're still good to get because they kind of tell us, yeah, here's where things are. So it does sound like Holocim Chapter 2, Season 2, I can't remember chapters. I think they're chapters. Anyways, that seems pretty close. C4 public testing release closer, and then Zinc a little further out. But again, I think we've been kind of anticipating all this now with kind of the way things have been going. And definitely the layoffs were unexpected, but now that we kind of understand, again, 90% of costs are salaries, yeah, it kind of all feels like it comes together and things like that. All makes sense together. So not much else. Again, just in that sense, a quiet week. I think partly the transition seems like more staff are taking up slack for getting the departure of the community team with the staff reduction. So yeah, we'll just kind of see how things go in the weeks ahead. So yeah, that's not it. That's it. Not much else to talk about. So still good to get the econ form. Still good to have an Atlas prove, and it was more of externally focused. So yeah, so just wrap it up with kind of talking about my journey playing Star Atlas. So again, I've been following along, trying to craft a Mob X, partly now to harvest Z experience points. So that seems to be going well, doing my daily check-ins. Almost done finally moving my nitrogen. I think it was nitrogen from one of the star bases. I was mining one of the other ones, and I finished that, and I can't remember if it was silica. I think it was silica, but I'm trying to remember what the other one is. But anyways, I switched mining from one to the other. So as soon as the moving of the nitrogen is done, I'll move my transport fleet back over to the other one and start moving that one. So yeah, just stay as she goes. I mean, that's pretty much it. Not much else this past week in Star Atlas. So anyways, to wrap it up, again, totally open. If anybody wants to be a guest on the podcast, please reach out through my website, intergalacticherald.com. Again, while you're there, you can check out my guides and directories, recaps in the Discord newsfeed. If you want a Star Atlas mug, check out intergalacticgear.com. And again, love to get together with other people. Check out intergalacticcoalition.com. Other than that was the week in Star Atlas. This is Matt with the Intergalactic Herald. Have a great week ahead.